Hey YouTube! It's the midway mark, and I think it's safe to say the last week felt like, to me, the day the earth stood still. No matter where any of us stand, this past week has affected us all in one way or another. And in turn, I feel like all things Nanowrimo just suddenly came to a halt. The vibe, the excitement, the thrill, even the fears just kind of all settled down to a quiet murmur of nothing. For some of you, that's not the case. Some of you have been on top of your Nanowrimo game. I've seen some of your word count updates and you've all put me to shame. But I think for a lot of us, I have come across a lot of videos and statuses where people have just kind of fallen into this melancholy Nanowrimo depression. So if you're not part of the few that have just been kicking Nanowrimo ass, are still motivated, still got all things going, if you're not one of those, welcome to the Nanowrimo Hump, which is appropriately settling in right at the midpoint. Here are 8 tips to hopefully get over this hump and get motivated again. Tip number 1, writing sprints and writing buddies. How about utilizing your writing buddies and see who is up to joining you for some short writing sprints? Now, specifically, I'm saying short, because here's the thing, you're in a hump. By keeping these writing sprints short, you're not committing to these long time frames where, let's face it, half of the time you're going to be struggling sitting there staring at the screen and probably at the end just lying to your writing buddy that you totally got words done. So do 5-minute writing sprints together and turn it into a game. Try to beat each other's word count or just compete with yourself and try to beat your previous word count. Tip number 2, social media accountability. Set aside a writing time and put it out there for all of your followers to know. Let them know that you have 1,000 words to complete in 2 hours. There's something about when we put ourselves out there, even if it's only 1 or 2 people who actually pay attention to the post, it's the fact that you know that someone knows that you know. Perhaps by making social media keep you accountable, that'll be the thing you need to get that spark back and finish writing. It's all about tricking the mind, people, tricking the mind. Tip number 3, get excited about your story again. Perhaps you've been on this on and off journey of getting words down in the last 15 days and it hasn't been going that great. And right now, every time you go back to your document, clearly you're focusing on where you left off and you're trying to add on. But if you're finding yourself in the Nanowrimo hump right now, then perhaps you just need to get excited about your story again. Set some time aside, go back and read the last 2 or 3 chapters that you've written. Give yourself a refresher of your story, of your characters. Find yourself those moments where you're actually laughing at a piece of dialogue. Those are really great moments and they're great motivators to remind you, oh, maybe I don't suck as much as I think I do. Yeah. Tip number 4, change your routine and or your atmosphere. So perhaps you have a set routine when it comes to writing, whether it's that you wake up in the morning, you get your coffee done, you go to your desk, you sit down, and you write for the next however many hours or so. Or maybe that's you in the evenings. Whatever your usual writing routine is, switch it up. Change your atmosphere. Because you're in the hump, don't write at home if that's where you're normally writing, and go to the local coffee shop, go to your local public library. More times than not, when you're in a public place like that, you can't really browse the internet as freely as you would at home, because half of the time their internet sucks anyways. So that's a benefit, because there goes half of your distractions. Then you can just focus on writing. Hello from the future. This is the portion of the video where we realized we completely forgot to give you tip number 5. Tip number 5. Are you feeling stuck on the scene that you have left off on? How about moving on? Set that aside and write a scene that you're actually excited to write about. Maybe it's a scene you've been anticipating. It's the first kiss, it's the first fight, it's the first adventure they take, whatever it is. Instead of forcing the scene that you're currently on to come out, If you're in the hump, move on. Put that aside, maybe open a separate document, label that document the scene name or the chapter, and write that. And perhaps once you've gotten that out of your system, your writing juices start flowing and you can go back to where you left off. You can go back to the past now, as you were. Tip number 6. Now this is more mental, but I think it's very important. Focus on adding to your story, not your word count. Eliminate that pressure. If you're focusing on that number, then you're not focusing on your story. And the whole point of writing a story is that we love storytelling. Focus on that and not so much the number aspect of making your word count for NaNoWriMo. Tip number 7. Ooh, magic trick. Reward yourself. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video. We talked about rewarding yourself. Again, it's all about tricking the mind. So for example, if you write 100 words, then you can reward yourself and have that candy that's in that baggie tempting you right next to you on your computer, that piece of chocolate, lunch, that cup of caffeine, or that can of Coke, whatever it is that you know you want. Make yourself not have it until you have succeeded with 100 words. For example, keep giving yourself little goals and set alongside them a reward. And to really make sure that you're successful, how about getting someone at home to hold your reward hostage until you succeed? Oh, yeah. People, whatever it takes. And last, tip number 8. What if you can't write anything? So you know you need to write, but nothing inside the very fabric of your being wants to. You just don't. How about then doing something that is related to your story? You're still gonna feel productive, you won't feel as guilty, and it may be the very motivation you need to get excited and wanna write again. So for example, how about start a Pinterest board of your characters, of motivational images, of images that remind you of aspects of your story, whether it's a city, a location, or how about put together a music playlist that will either coincide with certain chapters or scenes. Draw your characters. If you're doing a sci-fi type of story or fantasy, maybe you love designing outfits and you want to draw those out. How about you map out that ship that your characters are on? How about review your story so far, set an actual timeline? All these are just ideas of things you can do that are still in relation to your story, but if you're not just in the mood to write today, at least you're doing something. So there it is, friends. Those are my 8 tips that hopefully will get you and me over this NaNoWriMo hump and get us motivated to write again. If you find yourself struggling, don't worry. Don't put that pressure on yourself. It's not about winning NaNoWriMo. It's about motivating you and encouraging you to, 1, connect with a community that also loves writing. It's also the fact that you got motivated to start writing a story that has either been in your head this whole time or that suddenly sparked in your head day 1. You're writing a story. So let's get motivated again and let's get back to writing. If you like this video, I ask that you give us a thumbs up. If this is your first time here, hey, hi, how are you? Welcome to our channel. There is a subscribe button and it's right here. Click that button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Don't forget to check out our shop, coffeereadingwriting.com. We have mugs that cater to the coffee, caffeine-loving, book lover, and writer in you. So good luck, everyone. This last half of Rimo Nano. Wow. Good luck on this last half of NaNoWriMo. We're all in this together. Yeah, I went all High School Musical on you guys. I'll see you guys again soon. Till next time. Bye. The magic happens. That magical event, circumstance, piece of information.